Hello and welcome back. My name is Mohammed Khan. I'm sure a lot of you must have heard about Agile auditing these days. In this episode, we are going to talk about exactly the same thing. Now let's start by asking ourselves a question. Why Agile? Why do we need Agile auditing? Now the answer to that question lies in the feedbacks that we have received from our clients over a period of time. So one of the feedback is less collaboration, which means the auditors interact less with the auditees and due to that there may be less appreciation of the business processes and therefore not focusing on the right risks. The other one is feedback or not incorporating the feedback that we receive from our clients into a process in a timely manner. And the third point is the timeline of the audit itself, because audit can be a very lengthy process. It can take up to like 3 months to deliver. The clients or a business stakeholders sometimes fail to appreciate the benefit out of it, and it can take a lot of time to see what the actual product is. Before we go any further into the details of these benefits or using Agile in the audit space, let's try to understand what Agile fundamentally is. So we will split this video into two parts, whereby first we understand what Agile is, and then we'll see how and why we try to incorporate that in the audit space. So by definition, Agile means it is actually a project management methodology, and it got originated in the software development space. Now, if we have to really look at the true benefits of Agile, then we have to look at what a non-Agile looks like. And a non-Agile in the software development space is a Waterfall project management methodology. And what Waterfall does, it actually takes a project, split it into different phases, and then implement it as different processes. So the first phase would be requirements gathering, where the business or the client would be required to put their requirements or functionalities, and then there will be a contract negotiation or negotiation on those functionalities, and then that document will be kind of locked down or approved in form of a contract. And in the later part of the project, there is very less flexibility in terms of changing those requirements. Then after that is done, then the business will, then the technology will have its own documentation processes, whereby they will have some functional requirement document or the architecture design documents, etc. And then they need to be finalized and approved. So if you have seen, then there is a lot of focus on documentation and approvals and contracting, etc. And then once those documentation phases are over, then the developers will actually start their software development process, and they will be sitting in some part of the world mainly relying on the business requirement document or functional requirement document to develop a solution with very less interaction with the client, which is the next problem. Because there is less interaction, the developers are only interpreting the solution through the eyes of the document itself, so there can be misinterpretation, etc. And then the process of feedback from the client is eliminated, so you won't get those feedbacks, so you can incorporate it in your development processes or the solution that you're developing, and eventually that may lead to implementing a solution which is not as good as it could have been. And then there will be, after the development is over, then there will be testing and implementing the solution in the production environment, handing over to the customers after eliminating the bugs, etc. And then you'll have to train the customers, make the software stable, because there can be other challenges also after implementing the software. So all this actually takes a lot of time, sometimes years, sometimes months, if not years. And because of that, the business or the client will have to live without a solution for a very long time, and by the time the solution is delivered, there is a risk that may not be fit for the purpose. So now, by saying that, I'm not saying that Waterfall is not good for anything. There are still projects where a Waterfall is the right solution, but for most of the software development projects, Agile is the most relevant one. Now, now let's try to look at what Agile does for us in order to eliminate those problems which we have seen in the waterfall approach. Now what Agile does is actually it takes the same project and split it into different incremental segments and deliver it in those segments which are called sprints. And by doing that, you actually focusing on delivering a solution which may be available to the customer at a very early stage of the process. So the third problem that we spoke about of timelines is eliminated because you have a working solution from almost the beginning of the project itself. Then the other thing that Agile focuses on is less documentation or lean documentation. So they still have some scoping documents or other documents, but they are very kind of watered down, very minimum in size or volumes. So there is less focus on the documentation. So there is more interaction between developers and the clients to get the requirements and implementing them. And then because it is broken down in different parts, so if you have learned something from the business during first iteration, then you can incorporate those feedback in the next iteration. So there is always a learning process where you keep taking the feedback and making your process better and better, and eventually getting a better solution for the clients as well. So that's the next benefit of collaboration and understanding clients' needs. So what we have seen is the challenges that we had from the waterfall approach, which is less client interaction, more focus on contracts, that has been eliminated in Agile. The other one is getting the feedback from the clients and keep incorporating them in your process through through different iterations or sprints of your development phases. And the third one is getting a solution earlier for the client rather than waiting till the end of the project to deliver something. Now let's move on to the audit space now. So we earlier spoke about the feedback that we have got from the customers about less collaboration with the customers, incorporating feedback in a timely manner, and the third one is delivering the solution as early as possible, or delivering the product as early as possible. So when we use the same principles as we have seen in Agile, like breaking your project into different sprints or different incremental phases, what we do in Audit, we actually split our project into different sprints or different phases. So the end product doesn't change. The report and other deliverables remains exactly the same. Your level of documentation and your thoroughness should actually remain the same. So that the idea is not to change the end product. What all you do is actually you split it into different segments. So say for example, planning will be one sprint, your fieldwork will be one sprint, and your reporting will be one sprint. Now depending on your requirement or your preference, you can actually create more sprints in your planning also and in your fieldwork also, so that your client can see that now you have to deliver your planning in the next 3 weeks. So now they know what to expect in the next 3 weeks. So the problem of a lengthy process has been eliminated. Your clients can see what's happening. And then the other thing that you do, which Agile promotes, is regular interaction. In fact, daily interaction with your client, whereby you will bring your external customers and internal customers all at the same platform on a daily basis and discuss what you have achieved, what you're going to achieve today, and what your pain points are. And through that dialogue, you can understand the business processes better, you can focus on the right risk, you can eliminate your pain points, and the feedback that you get from them, you can incorporate that feedback in your next sprints to deliver a better product for your client. So that at a high level, how Agile works for us in the audit space. In the next videos, we are going to cover in more detail how you implement it, what are the different terminologies you need to be aware of, what are the different ways of dealing with certain situations, and we'll go into more details. And this actually now brings us to the end of this particular episode. If you have liked this video, then please share it with your fellow colleagues or professionals. Let them get benefit from this conversation. Please like this video. Put your comments if you want me to cover anything specific. I'll be happy to come back with more videos. And then I'll speak to you again on the other topics which I have spoken to you about in Agile Auditing as I promised. So have a good time, and I'll speak to you soon again. Bye-bye.